Even though horror can take many forms, there is one commonality they share. People are going to die. Slashers, ghost stories and creature features get our blood pumping because we know any member of the ensemble could be killed off at any second. What's worse is we have to watch them die slowly and painfully as they're stabbed, eaten or dismembered. However, there are some movie deaths that left a huge impact on us despite occurring off-screen. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with 10 haunting deaths in horror movies that we never see. Number 10, Lieutenant Boyle in The Silence of the Lambs. There are few characters in horror who curdle our blood more than Hannibal Lecter. Being a deranged cannibal, it's clear the Chianti-loving doctor has an animalistic side. However, Hannibal is scarier when he maintains his genteel demeanour. When he behaves politely to the correction officers in The Silence of the Lambs, we know this is the calm before the storm. Sure enough, Lecter frees himself from his restraints and overpowers the two guards. After handcuffing Lieutenant Boyle, he maces Sergeant Pembry, leaving the pair completely helpless. Although it's horrible to watch Hannibal take a big bite out of Pembry's cheek, what he does to Boyle is more hard-hitting. As the guard pleads for his life, the liver-guzzling psychiatrist beats him to death with his own nightstick. Rather than showing Boyle's face being pulverized to mush, the camera focuses on the good doctor's reaction. After being chastised by the officers, we assume Hannibal's face would be filled with an unquenchable ferocity. Instead, he strikes the officer with harmonious and mechanical force. Ironically, this makes the scene more frightening since it makes Hannibal come across as an unfeeling automaton rather than a human being. Number 9, Sam in The Witch. There are a lot of scenes in Robert Eggers' directorial debut guaranteed to leave you unsettled. The cackling crones suckling on a cow's teat, a dying child vomiting up a rotten apple, a crow pecking at a woman's bloodied breast. And yet, the most chilling moment in The Witch occurs off-screen. After William's family are banished from their settlement, they move to the woods, which is inhabited by a coven. One day, William's daughter takes her baby brother Sam to the edge of the woods to play peekaboo. While she has her eyes shut for a second, the child is taken by a witch. As surreal as The Witch is, this moment sticks with you because of how relatable it is. For many, there's no scenario more nerve-wracking than when a child goes missing while under your care. But the more we learn about Sam's disappearance, the more heart-wrenching it becomes. Because Sam wasn't baptized, his family believe his soul will never set foot in the kingdom of heaven. And when you learn the witch stole Sam to serve as an ingredient for her tincture, it's enough to turn your stomach. Number 8, Bill Brown in Friday the 13th. There's no question Kevin Bacon's character Jack has the most iconic death in Friday the 13th. But the way Bill Brown dies is a close second, which is impressive considering we never see the camp counselor pop his clogs. The last time we see Bill alive, he went to investigate the camp generator after the power went out. When he doesn't return, Alice heads to Bill's working shed. To her horror, she discovers his body pinned to the generator door with arrows piercing through his eyes, throat, torso, and even his testicles. Although the Friday the 13th franchise is overflowing with cheap jump scares, Bill's reveal works perfectly. Because of the limited lighting, it takes a moment for us to understand what we're looking at. The fact that this scene has a little build-up and isn't accompanied with spooky music makes it all the more unexpected. Also, you can't help feeling bad for poor Bill. Even though Friday the 13th has tons of self-absorbed and vapid characters, Bill was a good guy who genuinely cared about the campers, and yet he got it worse than anybody. Number 7, Paul in Sleepaway Camp. This 1983 cult classic kicks off with shy teenager Angela being sent to summer camp to combat her shyness. When a mysterious figure starts murdering campers and counselors, the establishment is placed under high alert. While this is going on, one camper, Paul, finds himself getting frisky with Angela. Despite reciprocating his feelings, Angela pushes Paul away when they kiss. With his hormones raging, Paul makes out with another camper, deeply upsetting Angela. When Paul attempts to make amends, Angela tells him to meet her at the sea. After he arrives, she cryptically asks him to take off his clothes as she starts to undress. Shortly after, the counselors discover Angela, now nude, singing a song to Paul, his head cradled on her lap. Although things seem innocent enough, the counselors gasp in horror when Angela stands up, causing Paul's decapitated head to plop onto the sand, confirming she's been the killer all along. While the viewers are still reeling from this revelation, the camera looms on Angela's naked body, revealing she has male genitalia. Even though we don't see Paul kick the bucket, he has the most memorable death since it occurs seconds before Sleepaway Camp's big twist. Number 6. Billy Soul in Predator. Predator centres around Dutch's squad, which is composed of the toughest mercs we can imagine, and Hawkins. As intimidating as this lot are, their tracker Billy is a cut above the rest. He may be a man of few words, but we can tell by Billy's unhinged manner he's not to be trifled with. When his teammates discover the Predator's prey has been skinned alive, Billy doesn't bat an eyelid. When the group encounter the extraterrestrial for the first time, Billy is the only person who keeps his cool. When he recognises this as a foe he cannot defeat, Billy acts without fear, challenging the alien hunter to single combat, armed only with a machete. Drawing his own blood to lure the beast out, we can tell Billy is not going down without putting up one hell of a fight. And yet we know the Predator made short work of him, since we hear Billy let out blood-curdling screams seconds later. Because Billy acted like the ultimate badass, hearing him squeal like a pig keeps us on the edge for the rest of the film's runtime. Number 5. Dallas and Lambert in Alien. The xenomorph is often regarded as the most frightening creature in cinema. Due to its towering size, razor-sharp tail, phallic skull, chitin-based exoskeleton, acidic blood, and toothed tongue, you can understand why. The xenomorph is so frightening, it's easy to forget we rarely see the so-called perfect organism kill anyone in Alien. Although Dallas and Lambert's death occur off-screen, we never forget how they checked out. When the xenomorph enters the air ducts, Dallas heads in with a flamethrower hoping to flush it out. As Ripley and the others look at Dallas's position on a computerized map, they notice the star beast speeding its way towards him. Despite looking in every direction, Dallas can't see his pursuer. Panicked, Dallas decides to get the hell out of there. As he climbs down the ladder, the xenomorph appears behind him, letting out an ear-tearing screech. Dallas's feed cuts off immediately after, implying his grim fate. Viewers are left so shaken by Dallas's abrupt death, they need a few minutes to calm down. Sadly, we don't get a chance, since this sequence is followed by an equally terrifying scene. When the crew ready to abandon ship, Lambert prepares to pick up supplies, only for the xenomorph to appear and block her escape. The last we see of Lambert, the xenomorph slides its jagged tail between her legs as she whimpers helplessly. When Ripley hears her bone-chilling scream echo throughout the corridors, she knows it's not a scream for help, but a death cry. Neither kill shows much gore, and yet both scenes are heart-pounding from start to finish. Number 4. Dr. Mixter in Halloween 2. Unlike Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers has never had any interest in dressing up his kills with theatrics. There's no flair, no pizzazz. While offing his victims, the stab-happy stalker gets to the literal point quickly and efficiently. However, Michael decided to mix up his MO when he slaughters the suitably named Dr. Mixter in Halloween 2. After the Shatner-masked murderer goes on a killing spree in Haddonfield, our lone survivor, Laurie Strode, is transported to the local hospital where she's treated by Dr. Mixter. After having Laurie medicated, the doctor heads to his office. When nurse Janet goes to fetch him, she sees her boss sitting in his chair with his back to her. At a glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary. But when he refuses to respond, Janet nudges Dr. Mixter's shoulder, causing his chair to swivel round. Only then do we see Michael has impaled Mixter through the eyeball with a syringe. Because the camera focuses on Mixter's other eye at first, viewers are none the wiser about the doctor's fate, which makes this reveal catch us so off guard. Number 3. Samantha in I Am Legend. In this Richard Matheson adaptation, scientists find the cure for cancer after genetically re-engineering measles. Unfortunately, the virus has a nasty habit of turning 99% of people into dark-seeking cannibals. One of the few uninfected, Dr. Robert Neville, has spent years formulating a cure, with his German shepherd Samantha serving as his only companion. While Robert is out and about, he gets ensnared in one of the Darkseeker's booby traps. When several infected dogs attack Robert, Samantha comes to his aid, allowing him to escape. Tragically, Sam is bitten during the scuffle, meaning it's only a matter of time before she turns. Knowing he has precious time left with her, Robert takes his pup back to the lab and cradles her in his arms. When the infection sets in, Sam tries to attack Robert, forcing him to strangle her to death. Although we don't see Sam being put out of her misery, the anguish on Robert's face speaks volumes. Not only is this scene excruciating to watch for any dog lover, you can't help feeling devastated for our hero knowing he just killed his only friend in the world. Number 2. Freddie Lounge in Manhunter. Because The Silence of the Lambs bagged 5 Academy Awards, it's easy to forget it wasn't the first adaptation of Thomas Harris's work. Back in 1986, Michael Mann directed the underrated Manhunter, based on the first Hannibal Lecter novel, Red Dragon. The film opens with FBI agent Jack Crawford detailing a murder investigation to Will Graham, the agent who put Hannibal away. To draw out killer Francis Dolarhyde, the FBI give false details to journalist Freddie Lounge, allowing him to publish a derogatory profile on him. Outraged, Dolarhyde kidnaps Lounge, telling him he must learn the error of his ways. After uttering the iconic line, "You owe me all," Dolarhyde pulls Lounge's tongue off with his bare teeth. As agonizing as this looks, it's just the tip of the iceberg. As future punishment for Lounge's lies, Dolarhyde places him in a wheelchair and sets him on fire before rolling him to his work office. Although we don't see the killer commit this act, the sight of Lounge's charred corpse lets us know he endured an unspeakable level of pain before shuffling off his mortal coil. Number 1. The Sins in Seven. Throughout Seven, serial killer John Doe directly or indirectly executes people who he believes represents the 7 deadly sins. However, we only see the aftermath, never the kills themselves. Even though this could lessen the impact of the characters' deaths, David Fincher's thriller is sure to leave you shaken to your core. Detective Somerset breaks down each murder in graphic detail, giving us great insight into the agony each victim experienced in their final moments. Seeing Gluttony's bloated and discoloured corpse is more disturbing than watching him die. When we saw the bladed strap-on used to penetrate lust to death, that was enough to chill us to the bone. As for Sloth, well, there's a good chance you will never get that image out of your head. Then there's the ending. Overcome by desire, John Doe decapitates Detective Mills' pregnant wife, Tracy. Doe then presents the disembodied head to Mills in a box, compelling the detective to kill him. We never witness Tracy's demise, we never see the contents of the box, and yet it's a death that will stay with us for the rest of our lives. And that concludes our list. If you think we missed any, then let us know in the comments down below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.